Here's another thing that I'd like to share with you as well, because you are God. That challenges people so much. You're not God. How dare you think you're God? God's much more powerful than you. If you look at life for a human experience, so I shared a video today, but let's look at everything that we see in this world, and I might have something here. So it's called the kingdom of life. Would you say that the world that we live in is a self-sufficient organism? Everything works off of everything else. It's like a cycle, to the point where something dies, and what happens? Fungi comes in and takes it away from this world. Animals will eat the food. They'll then feed off of each other. Then it goes down a line. Like everything is it. You go into the forest. What do you see? You see all the trees and stuff. But what do you really see? You see life. You also see death. The forest would not be a forest without the death there. When things die, then something happens. There's rebirth, there's regrowth. So we see it, and what is all this? Is God's creation. So we see it in God's creation in that point. Let's look inside our body. So there's only one of you. So let's say that there's only one of God. Different analogy. There's only one of you. Would I be right in saying there's 8 billion people supposedly on this world? There's only one of you. Would you agree there? So let's take you as God in this sense. Inside your body, however, there's 50 trillion cells of you. And if we know our science, and if you looked at my other talk, I show you, you pull one cell out of the human body, and everything in that one cell, everything is about you within there. So you're not the ocean, you're not the drop within the ocean, you're the ocean in one drop. Rumi. In that one cell. So there's 50 trillion cells in your body. They all have their own unique responsibility, uniqueness. However, that body, that oneness of the body does not work unless they all function together. And what happens when we get disease? What happens when we get ill? There's a disruption somewhere. Something's not firing on the cylinders are not firing. And what happens? Your body gets ill. All of a sudden you can see your body only exists in harmony with all the cells. Your cells are the souls. So if you treat your cells as the inner body to the oneness, then let's look at us. You're not God, you're not God. Yeah, but you're looking at yourself in isolation. You're looking at me in isolation. But we're all souls, all of us. So the cells in the body are the souls in the human experience. And souls, would you agree, people? And for pet owners in here, when you look into your dog's eyes, do you see a soul? There's something wrong with you if you can't. There's souls within all the animals. How do we learn our advancement? We learn from animals. Everything that we're being shown in this creation, we learn from God's creation. So you're not God. No, you can't be. You're not God. But let's look from God's perspective. God is the one, and we're all God's cells. We're all part of his organism. We're all part of this collective. And if we all work together and we got rid of all the disruption and the chaos and the disease and the darkness, and the light comes through, then God's creation functions optimally. So can you see where I'm going? We are gods. Look at our body. Your body is a miracle. And there's no way you can tell me anything else about your body apart from it being a miracle. When you cut yourself, what happens? When you break a bone in your body, what happens? It fixes itself on its own. That's a miracle. And what do? We look at it in a short space of time, and nothing's working, my body's not, but in the longer period of time, your body refines itself. It readjusts itself. It does it on its own. But if we work with the body, we communicate with it. We become the creator, the commander, the captain of the body. Again, it's different levels to it. So we are God. If we look through God's eyes, we only look through the human experience eyes, but there's more than just humans in this plane that we live on. And we've learned a lot of our teachings, or all of our teachings, from the creation in front of us. So it can't be just humans. We're not just here. Imagine if we didn't have the fish, if we didn't have horses, if we didn't have trees, how would we learn anything? Like all our clothing. If you look at the way that the penguins, their fur and their inner body is so warm, we get our ideas from that. We learn that how deep sea divers will imitate the fishes that go down and the dolphins, the way they make their flippers. Where's a flipper come from? A bow and arrow, which I like using that analogy. If you really take the logic, how did someone come up with that idea? Well, when the bodies used to die, there used to be left a skeleton. And in the skeleton of the body, there used to be all these strings. And then all of a sudden they go, bing! Your skeleton was the inspiration for the bow and arrow. The wiring that goes on. If you look at how a city's built, and then you got the ocean as the whole, the wholeness, the oneness. And then what happens to the ocean? You then have the rivers that go on. That's how they build cities. They look at how the body works within, how they built the internet inside your body. God's creation, God's creation. So you have to be God. If God created us, we're a part of him. We're his cells. We're doing God's work. We're God's children. We're the children of the light. So can you see where I'm going with this? The only thing that stops you being God is you, or the words of others that say, no, you're wrong. Yet the more you keep telling yourself, the more you connect, the more you go into those deep, and I like that word now, the deep state of bliss. We change the deep state because that's the dark part. When we go into a deep state of bliss, a deep state of love, a deep state trance, where are you? You're not here anymore. So where are you? You're conscious. Consciousness. Rise up in consciousness. Jesus Christ consciousness. So it's all in the words. It's all in the text. It's all in our experience. It's all in the creation. So for me, people, it might be challenging for other people, but remember, people don't like people succeeding. What's the book where you got the stalk and it goes all the way up and it goes up and then they get up right above and as you're going up, they're trying to cut you down. They're trying to stop you reaching those highest heights. That's an allegory for our life. Since learning this, I'm so now at peace. And that's the beautiful thing about this, Jerry, as well. And this is what I love teaching. You can say that I'm wrong, but are you feeling better? Yeah. Do you feel calmer? Have you noticed shifts that have taken place in your life? Are you having connections with God within you now? Is it a bad thing then that we're teaching this? Can you give me an alternative that some other people are teaching that makes you feel the same? Because let me hear some of that. But all I get is a resistance. I get anger. I get name calling. I get blasphemy. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense if we're looking at God. And think about it, God's creation. Why would he make it complicated for us? He's given us an answer, so we take the sun and the moon. He's given us a choice. The absence of God is the ego edging God out. You need the duality. That's the human experience. So that darkness has to be there. But when we're aware of it, like we've all gone through our whole life, how much darkness have we actually experienced? How many teachings and lessons and how much strength has come from that? So that Savior part, when you're born in sin, the people delivering that message, I feel, are delivering it on purpose at the higher ends of the evil. And that's just been regurgitated without the individual thought to comprehend what are we saying here. So if you're born in sin, evil, and you're continuing to do evil, you're continuing to spread a message as a deceptor and as a deceiver, then of course you are sinning. You're deliberately doing it knowingly. When you lie, you know you're lying. Your soul doesn't lie. When you lie, your body knows you're lying because the body doesn't match with the mind. It's a mirror. There's then all of a sudden a stutter in your throat. You start sweating. Your heart rate starts pumping. Your soul's going, you're lying. You're lying. You can't hide that. I know when people are lying. And the more I start connecting, I see lies and deception all the time. I see fear. I see genuine authenticity and maybe confusion, but I see liars too. I see hate, I see anger, I see another narrative, I see another agenda. I see it clearly now. Why? Because I'm finding myself. I'm not trying hard now, I'm being. And in that process of being simple, being silent, being still, I then see all the outside noise ahead of me and I choose. Is that a truth or not? So you turn it inwards and then you look out. Before you go out, make sure you come from within. It's all so simple for me. Thank you, Harry. Your meditations changed my life. I love that. I love your shares that you do as well. Right.